look at that white car. That's none other than Tony Stewart, who started back. Oh, man, he bangs both of them. He hit one on each side and still took the lead. Oh, no. Oh, my God. His foot in it. You believe him? The right side on the throttle. And look at PJ. Oh, man, right up over the berm, right past. Oh, man. PJ and Tripp get together.
As Thunder enters its 10th year, it's become somewhat of a pastime on ESPN. So we offer up our boys of summer. While one so-called pastime consists of enormous egos and inflated paychecks, Thunder offers up hard-working fellas willing to step into the cage for nothing. Unlike other heroes, the Thunder drivers carry their own luggage to work. And when we go out of the ballpark, we lean out of the park. Replacement drivers, give us a break. These local heroes are in a league of their own.
They have big hearts and a whole lot of horsepower. Brave souls and the will to win. Any night of the week, they are still the local heroes. And they live for the sound of thunder.
Tonight, USAC Skoal racing Western States midgets from the Ventura County Fairgrounds in Ventura, California. A beautiful spring night, clear skies, a bit windy, a temperature in the upper 60s. Hi, everybody, I'm Gary Lee, and welcome to a special Saturday edition of Thursday Night Thunder. Now, race fans, stick with me for a second, and let me think. The hockey strike ended weeks ago. They've been high-sticking and body-slamming for a long time. We think the baseball strike is over. The players are in spring training. You see, the Major League umpires are still locked out. Well, hopefully we won't get interrupted this evening. We'll give you 2 hours, wall-to-wall, wheel-banging, dirt-slinging midget competition. And besides all the live racing, we have taped highlights of the World of Outlaws, the SCRA sprint cars. Hey, a gal won last week at Chico and NARC. We have that. And midgets and sprints with USAC. I tell you what, stay with us. We have all kinds of action. And I realize you're saying to yourself, something is different. Something is missing. Hey, Dave Despain is AWOL. He took off, went to Tucson. Hope you had a chance to watch his live coverage earlier today on ESPN of the NASCAR Super Trucks. They will be back in a couple of weeks to rejoin us here at Ventura. Later tonight, we'll have Dave Wilson patrolling the pit area. But hey, what's a Thunder show without the three-time USAC champ? He's here, Ray Cerrone, Larry Rice. And Larry, talk about being on a roll and a batting average. How about Billy Boat?
Hey, he's batting 1,000. They've had 2 races out here so far on the dirt, and he's won both of them. Since he's hooked up with John Lawson and they've hired Keith Coons, they have been terrific. Last week, he and Tony Stewart were in a league of their own. Those 2 guys put on a classic battle like we haven't seen out here for a couple of years. Tony Stewart driving that white number 36 down to the bottom. He runs in under Billy Boat. He slides up, almost bangs into him, and they ran like that for the first 15 laps of this race. It was terrific. But in the end, it was Billy Boat who ended up in victory circle.
Yeah, you talk about Tony Stewart. Now, Tony Stewart has a very unique opportunity. He's the national midget champion, but he has a chance to do something that has never, ever before been done in USAC competition.
He has a chance to be the midget champion, the sprint champion, and the Silver Crown champion all in the same year. Pancho Carter has won all 3 of those, but not in the same year. Ricky Hood, Steve Butler, and Rich Vogler have won 2 out of the 3, but not all 3 in the same year. And believe me, with the cars he's driving, he's got an honest chance to do it.
Yeah, and let me tell you what kind of a shoe this guy was during his career. He's a midget champion, 2-time Silver Crown titleist. Back in the late 70s, he gave up 3 USAC sprint car races to focus on the Indy 500. Had you raced those 3, you'd have been the national sprint car champion and joined the very elite group that only has Pancho Carter. Good career. Top 6 qualifiers right now this evening. New track record for your defending Western States champion, Johnny Cofer. Jimmy Sills was second. There's Tony Stewart. Then Jack Runyon, Donnie Beechler, and John Sarna. Now we take you trackside, put Dave Wilson to work, and he has our fast qualifier.
Boys, I'm down here with the flying farmer, Johnny Cofer. And Johnny, you got to be wondering what you got to do to get some PR here. Here you are, defending Western States champion. Last week you set fast time. This week, You said a new track record, but everybody's talking about Stewart and Boats. What do you think about that?
Wait a minute now. Is that Donald Fear guy going to be cutting into this interview or what?
No, you got the airtime now, Johnny. What do you think? How about that performance, that new track record tonight?
Oh, yeah. Jeff at Auto Research really works hard on the car. I mean, the car was just beautiful. All I do is just put the pedal down and miss the fence.
Well, now you got a tough heat race coming up here. Who do you think is going to be the toughest competition to keep you back from getting in the front?
Donnie Beechler right alongside me is really tough. They had a rough time last weekend, you know, getting going, and so did we, but he'll be really fast. He's super fast.
Well, boys, a new track record holder doesn't see any easy outs here in heat number 1. Back up to you guys.
Well, I think I can assure Johnny no interruptions this evening. We're out in California. Rice, they're getting ready for the heat race number 1. What do you say when you're ready for action?
They play ball.
Oh, that's the wrong sport. Hey, come back. We're on the Pacific Coast. It's a beautiful night for racing. We've got the USAC Skoal Western States Midget heat race number 1 coming up next. Tonight's Speed World presentation of Thunder is brought to you by Honda Motorcycles. Stand out from the crowd on a 95 Honda Custom. By Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life. And by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Live action from the Ventura County Fairgrounds, the Skoal Racing Western States USAC Midgets. And right now, Larry Rice, we have graded the track after the TQ competition. The cars were just running in the track.
Yeah, they go out there, they want to just kind of get a feel of it. They weren't real sure what the racetrack was going to be like. There was no defined groove like there had been earlier, so they gave them a couple laps just to kind of get the edge off and get things ready to go. So a couple more laps here and we'll be ready to race.
Starting lineup now for heat race number 1. On the inside, the 47 car is Keith Roush. He won a race here on television back in 1991. He's subbing for Leland McSpadden in that car tonight. Leland's racing sprint cars at Manzanita. Outside is Walt Johnson in 63. In the second row, Robbie Flock, a 3-time Western States champion, alongside Dennis Hart, who won here in 91 on television. Tony Elliott from Kokomo, Indiana, in the 05 car. Jay Drake, last year's Rookie of the Year, outside in 9. Then it's Donnie Beechler in 67, and Johnny Kofer, your defending Western States champion and track record holder, starting outside. The inverted start, the fastest on the rear. Only 4 will transfer.
Well, as you said, Keith Roush is subbing for Leland McSpadden. He's running a sprint car tonight. That 47 car has been a very fast car here, and I know that Keith Roush is very, very happy to be in such a good race car as Bondio's car.
That car has been very successful. Of course, McSpadden is always very, very spectacular. Keith Roush, though, is spectacular in his own right. He comes out of Denver. He's a former Rocky Mountain Midget Association champion.
And Dennis Hart, who's starting on the outside of the second row in that red number 16 car, he's a kid he couldn't run last year because he had trouble, but he's back in there again this year.
Well, he won on television back in 91. And look at that on the high side. Johnson, now he couldn't hold that position. The momentum goes to the number 47 car. Keith Roush takes the lead. Remember, only the top 4 will transfer onto the feature, and those that finish 5th to the balance of the field will have to go through the semi.
Red number 6 on the outside is Robbie Flock. He's really standing on the button, trying to catch up. The red 16 on the inside, that's Dennis Hart. Those two guys are in the transfer positions right now.
Robbie Flock runs in 3rd. That red car right behind Johnson. Number 16 is Dennis Hart. They run together down the backstretch. The track starts to get rough over in turn 3. We look back at the white 9, the Steve Lewis car, and that is Jay Drake. Right behind Jay was the 67 of Donnie Beechler. A look again at Billy Bode, a 3-time series champion, some 32 wins in Western States competition. He looks to the inside, looking at 3 abreast in turn 2.
Flock tried to get on the inside. He'd been trying to run on the outside. He couldn't find a way. Walt Johnson's running just high enough. There's no groove around him on the outside, so Flock decided the only way he was going to get around him was drop right straight to the bottom, but he can't get off the corner. He gets in better, but he can't get off good enough to get around him.
Well, Roush is off and gone, about 2/3 straightaway advantage as we continue to watch that battle for the 3rd spot right now. The red 16 of Dennis Hart runs in 4th, challenging for 3rd. There is the white flag. 1 lap to go for Keith Roush.
Yeah,
spin out. That's spin out inside turn 2, Jay Drake. That is the...
They're going to go ahead and let him run.
Now,
he's off the racetrack.
He's off the racetrack. So Drake...
Keith Roush wins it. Hart gets around Flock right there in the last lap. Those were your two transfer spots as they went across the finish line. Walt Johnson ran second.
But look at the blue number 1. Johnny Kofer was not able to transfer. He has to go through the semi, as will Jay Drake. So we had some good drivers in the semi last week. In fact, you missed the semi because of that interruption by baseball. Hey, we got you covered. We're going to bring it back and play it on tape this evening, all the highlights from that one.
Right. The first 4 finishers, when they regraded that track, they made it so even and so fast from top to bottom, nobody could get around. The guys that started the first 4 positions finished in the first 4 positions.
Well, there's a good look at Keith Roush. We'll have a chance to visit with the winner of our first of 4 heat races. As we take this break, we'll be returning for more USAC Western States action from Ventura, California. Back with more Speed World from the Western States Midgets at Ventura. The top 5 from that first heat race. Only 4 will transfer, though. Keith Roush wins it. Then it's Walt Johnson, Dennis Hart, Robbie Flock, and Donnie Beachwood. Let's go trackside, and Dave Wilson has our winner.
We're down here with the man. Back in 1991, the first time Thunder came to Ventura, this guy won the feature, and this time, Keith, you made it look easy.
Well, he has a car, Andy Bondio has a car set up really good. We had a little problem qualifying, so hopefully we have to start back pretty far in the main, so we'll have to go to the front.
A lot of difficulties with people trying to pass in that heat race. You think the track will get better as the night goes on?
Yeah, I think so. The track is a little greasy. Like right in the middle of the straightaway, it's real greasy, and makes it kind of hard for a guy to pass on the bottom.
Well, Keith made it look easy out there, and he hopes it stays that way as we continue on. Back up top to the Gary and Larry Show.
Hey, race fans, we have you covered. Now, I know that we lost the B main, the semi, because of that interruption, but hey, we've got the highlights. Sleepy Trip didn't want to see this, didn't want anybody to see it, but we're going to show it right now. Well, remember, only 4 will transfer. They're starting straight up in this one, which means the fastest qualifiers get to start up in front. And Flash, Jordan Hermansader, is leading and being challenged for that spot by Sleepy Trip. And here comes Trippy. They almost get together. Trippy on the inside, the black number 3. That's a Stealth on the inside, a Beast on the outside. They battle down the backstretch. Oh! Trippy nails him from behind. Oh, and he gets hit a second time. Well, he's pointing at Sleepy right now. He's not happy at all with what Tripp did to him out there.
As young Shane Skoal climbed over that wheel. Man, he barely missed that thing. He slid by on the inside.
On the high side is Pankratz. Down low is J.R. Lawson. That's the battle for the 4th and final spot.
Oh.
And he lost that right there. Oh, look at this. Both of them taking it so hard and so hot, they almost got to the fence. Sleepy on the high side having his trouble right now. That is Schumann down low, and Trippy hangs on to win it. Tripp hangs on to take the semi over Schumann.
Schumann drove him so far down in the corner. Sleepy wasn't going to let him beat him in, and they both almost got clear up to the fence trying to outdo each other. What a battle. What a finish.
All right, Rice, analyze that. What happened? What happened when Tripp hit him?
Hey, when you talk to those guys, Trippy says he slowed down. He said Sleepy just hit him. So what are you going to do? It was just one of those things.
They've made up. They'll be racing this evening. And hey, and don't forget, we have 3 more heat races, the semi, and we're going to have some good shoes in the semi as well. We're coming back with heat race number 2. Stay with us. Thanks to Larry Crane. If you like that music, that's from his latest CD. The cut is called King of the Hill. And we're looking for the king of the Western States Midgets tonight from Ventura, California, the Ventura County Fairgrounds. And we are getting set for heat race number 2.
Yeah, I tell you what, these guys are out there again. It looks like everybody's really anxious tonight. Nobody wants to get lined up. They want to go out there and gas it a little bit. Try to find where the groove is. They watched that last race. They know there wasn't.
Well, the track has changed because we did have the TQs run earlier. The track was then graded. So the track has changed dramatically since they qualified and had their practice session about 2 hours ago.
Right. That's why they're also anxious to get out there and run a couple of hot laps. So.
There is a look at that racetrack, and I think we should have a good racetrack before this evening is out.
Jim Naylor has worked very hard on it, believe me.
Starting lineup, starting up in front, same format, inverted start. The fastest on the rear, Robert Dulacki has the inside pole at number 7, and Hank Butcher, the 50-year-old veteran, outside in 31, the second row. There's Billy Boat in 15, the winner last week, and Carl Olson from New Zealand in the 03 car. In the third row, we have J.R. Lawson in 51, Rick Hendricks outside in the 12 car, and then the fourth row, John Sarna inside in 5, and your second fast qualifier, Jimmy Sills, outside in the 4X car. Let's take a look now, if we can. There's Hank Butcher. He'll give us all the in-car camera shots from this heat race, and we'd like, if we can, take a look at the point standings, because this guy is 50 years old. He has 1 feature win during his career, but he's been so consistent in 3 races this year. He's second in points. Billy Boat has won 2 out of 3, the 2 dirt races. Hank Butcher is second, then Tony Stewart, who will not compete for the title out here, nor will Kenny Irwin, and Johnny Kofer, your defending champion, is now 5th. Let's take a look at what it looks like from inside the car. Well, you wouldn't be looking at this shot if you're inside the cockpit. That's looking back
at the rest of the field. But I got to tell you, this Hank Butcher, he is one of the nicest gentlemen you'd ever want to meet in the sport of automobile racing. He's been around for a long, long time. He's sponsored by Precious Moments. I know a lot of you out there, I've said this before, that's his brother, Sam Butcher, who owns that. It's one of the largest organizations in the world. 500,000 people belong to that Precious Moments Society, and the 2 of them are really, really nice people.
Here they come. The green flag should fly this time by. We are racing in heat race number 2. Remember, only the first 4 will transfer. Robert Dulacki takes the lead coming off the corner. There's a scramble for position down the backstretch. The yellow flag is out.
They must not have liked the start. I think they put the yellow flag out as they went down the back straightaway. Hank Butcher did not get a very good start. He was clear behind Dulacki as they came around, and I think the starter just decided to throw out the yellow flag. And once again, Gary, they throw that yellow flag out as they go down the back straightaway so they don't cause a crash. They go ahead and throw the green, and that's why we've done this.
Second fast qualifier this evening, starting outside that last row in the DuPont car. There is the Beast with the, that's the Jim Wright-powered car. That's the old Buick head and block. That's Jimmy Sills. Sills is the professor. He has that racing school at Marysville.
And we got a letter from one of his students not too long ago telling us what a great school it was, and I think he even showed up here tonight.
He is there working in the pit area for Jimmy. So, yeah, he was, that's some very kind remarks for Jimmy as a professor teaching midget and sprint car driving in Marysville, California.
Better start this time, and Butcher got the front wheel clipped, and that caused him to have to get off the throttle, and when he did, he lost his spot. He didn't get as good a start this time as he did the first time, actually.
Well, Billy Boat goes to second. Hank Butcher drops to third.
Look at the battle back there. They're banging wheels back there in the back. That's J.R. Lawson in the 51 car. He and John Sarna got together as Sills gets around Sarna.
Well, Sills knows that the fast qualifier in that last heat did not transfer, did not finish in the top 4, and he's mired back there in last position. He has to move to the 4th position to transfer. Otherwise, we're going to have some real hot dogs, heavyweights in that semi. Here you go. You're riding in 3rd place right now with Hank Butcher down the front stretch, gives it a pitch into the first corner. There's the battle for the lead up in front as Sills has pulled off the racetrack and out of the race. The DuPont 4 car, the Dave Calderwood car, and there's a look at the, well, the yellow flag is out.
You know, he pulled in there and then he got to start again and took off again. I don't know what's going on. But he took off. Uh-oh.
Well, that's what's going on.
J.R. Lawson up there in the corner. He's been tangled. Can't tell who the other car is.
The
Carl
Z3,
Olson.
the Z3,
Okay.
That's the New Zealand driver. In fact, he is from New Zealand, but I understand he's living in Indianapolis now.
Right, he works for Corey Phillips, actually, on Carrera Shocks back in Indianapolis right now. So
he married an American girl.
That's a good way to get a stay in the U.S. of A.
Which is just the reverse of what Sleepy Trip did. He went to New Zealand and married a New Zealand gal.
Let's see if we can see what happened here, Gary. Right here, Carl Olson got in. He just spun. He just got in, got loose. J.R. Lawson was right behind him, had no place to go, nailed him, and Sarna goes through, nails him again.
Sarna may have some damage to the left front of that race car.
I think Sarna does. You can see him smoking. I'm sure that Carl Olson's got the front end messed up, and Sarna has stopped up there in the corner.
Well, Lawson is being pushed away, but Sarna has stopped up at the 4th turn area of the racetrack, so he may be able to continue. There's a look at J.R. Lawson.
J.R. he kind of went in there and banged into Carl Olson, but he hit him pretty square. He hit him with the front bumper. Olson took the brunt on the left front of the axle and then on the right front, but Sarna might have had something messed up when he hit him because it was smoking. Oh, he's going to get pushed off
Olson
again.
continues on, and it looks like Sarna will get pushed away, so no harm, no foul. All three will continue, go at the back of the pack, and that would move. Well, we're not sure about Sills because Sills pulled to the infield. These cars have onboard starters and clutches, so engage the clutch, did not kill the engine, and he moves back out right now in the 5th spot, so this really could be a break for Jimmy Sills.
Could be, because he now only has to gain 1 spot. That's Rick Hendricks right in front of him, so he's got to get around him.
3 laps down and 5 laps to go, Larry, the 8-lap heat race, and there goes Sarna. This could be very interesting now. We'll see what Jimmy Sills can do from that 5th restart position. He'll be right behind the number 12 car there that you see. That is Rick Hendricks.
As we look out the back of Hank Butcher's car, you can see he is in 3rd place. The guys right behind him are the guys that are really battling to try to make the feature race. Of course, Sills, I don't know what happened to him. He pulled in. I thought he was done. I thought the engine was dead, but all of a sudden he fired it back up and took back off.
A week ago when we were out here, he was running that Buick V6, but he's dumped that engine in favor of the Buick 4 that Jim Wright built. And Jim Wright, in fact, is out here this weekend working on these Buick power plants. We're racing now on lap number 4. Let's see what...
Boat went in under Delacqui. He got a real good restart, but Delacqui pulled him going off the corner and held onto the lead.
Look up there in the 5th spot, working the high side coming off the corner is Sills, and Sills moves to the 4th and final transfer position.
And there goes Boat. He's down on the inside of Delacqui. He moves Delacqui over just a little bit.
Yellow flag out, though. We have a spin over in turn 1, Larry, as I jump in and interrupt you. Carl Olson again.
Carl Olson again. That race car must be awfully loose. That's the 2nd time he spun. Both times it appeared to be on his own. So he's probably going to pull it into the infield. I don't know whether they have a
2-spin rule here, and he goes to the infield. So.
But, usually that's, he's going to get a restart and go back out.
Maybe we'll make that a 3-spin rule this evening.
I guess so.
But he stops again,
Sarna,
and Sarna has pulled off. John Sarna pulls off, and he heads back to the pit area. And looks like Olson will be pushed away and return to the back of the pack. But we can say in the meantime that the number 4 car of Jimmy Sills, who has won 4 times here on television at Ventura, has moved to the 4th position. In fact, Sills won twice back in '92 and 2 times in '91. Had it not been for some mechanical problem, it won a lot more. Black flag being displayed for the Olson car. So apparently we do have that 2-spin rule, and he's being black flagged and sent back to the pit area as you look at the front of the 4X car of Jimmy Sills.
And I think that's a good rule. If you get stopped twice in a race, there's probably a good reason that you've been involved in 2 different incidents, so they might as well pull you off and not hold up the program anymore. It's a tough break for Carl Olson, but I think it's better for everybody else in the program. It's going to be tough here now. Delacqui has done a wonderful job so far keeping Billy Boat behind him. If he can do it again, he'll be doing a really good job.
From inside the CarQuest cage cam, you ride down the front straightaway with Hank Butcher. Butcher rides in 3rd position. He's not being challenged right now for that spot.
And look at Butcher. Those first 2 guys battled each other. Butcher snuck up on the inside of both of them and almost got it up the side of them.
Right behind Butcher is the 4 car of Jimmy Sills.
You can see there's a big hole getting into 1. Boat hit that hole that time. He lost a little ground as that thing jumped up in the air when he went through that hole. Delacqui pulled off to about a 2 or 3 car length lead when he hit that big bump down there.
Butcher closed in. Butcher stays a little lower on the racetrack. Up the middle of the track is Boat. Butcher should look for the white flag the next time by.
Butcher likes the inside of the racetrack, and he's really running fast down there. Most of the guys are running a little higher, right up the middle. Butcher's running right down on the bottom. Look at there, he goes right around Boat.
So Boat drops to 3rd. Butcher goes to 2nd. He's been real racy this season, but the victory goes to Delacqui, who started on the pole. So obviously the pole position is the place to start this evening. That may be just the racetrack right now that gives that pole guy the real advantage.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, Jimmy Sills came from last up to 4th, so there are...
Yeah, but he passed 3 guys under that yellow flag situation there when they spun out and had to go to the back of the pack.
Well, I'll tell you what, Hank Butcher didn't have any yellow flags when he blew up the last guy right there, and he did a good job.
All right, as we take a look inside that Simpson helmet at Robert Delacqui, who wins heat race number 2, we'll come back and have a chance to visit with him as we return to Ventura, California. The West Sacramento gang, we love those Thunderheads. A great crowd here at Ventura this evening on a great night for racing for both the fans and the drivers. We have concluded heat race number 2 as we take a look now at the rundown. Robert Dulacki wins it over Hank Butcher, Billy Boat, Jimmy Sills, and Rick Hendricks. The top 4 transfer to the main event. I know that Robert Dulacki is very happy. He was challenged, but undaunted in victory. And here is Dave Wilson.
Well, last week you won the heat race with smoke a-flying like you were killing mosquitoes. This time you had the hands full with Billy Boat.
Yeah, he's tough. I didn't think I was going to be able to hold on there for a minute.
Now this week you're looking to get back into the feature. Last week you had some problems, mechanical problems, broke first time out. How does it look this time?
I think it looks pretty good. Last week on first lap, the oil pump stuck wide open, the relief valve, so we lost all the oil pressure and I had to pull in. It wasn't until 3 o'clock this afternoon that my brother, Mark, my motorman, Bob Grable, my wife, my kids, everybody that helps. We worked until 3 o'clock this afternoon. We left LA. I missed the pit meeting and everything. We didn't even know if we was going to be able to make it, and we're able to win and beat the best, so I'm really happy.
Well, he'll be back for the feature, guys. The whole team got him here, and watch his shoe make him go fast in the feature.
Yeah, all these guys have regular jobs. They don't have fat contracts, do they? They have to work for a living. Hey, they run all kinds of race cars here at Ventura, including sprint cars. Last Saturday, the SCRA Sprint Car Show. It was a dandy. Here are the highlights. The SCRA Sprints were at Ventura on the same track as our Thunder telecast. At the start of heat race number 4, Mike Kirby slid in the back of Jerry Meyer, sending him up and over. But Meyer later returned to win the B main. Moving to the A, Ricky Gaunt was leading Ron Schumann. They made contact in turn 3, allowing J.J. Yaley to take the lead over Leland McSpadden. As the foursome headed for turn 1, Gaunt tried to get his position back, but ran into Yaley and spun, bringing out the yellow. The scoring reverted to the previous lap, putting Schumann back in front. He was unchallenged for the rest of the way, having only to contend with slower traffic. He became SCRA's 4th different winner in as many races this season. And we also race stock cars. We race stock cars here at Ventura. This was just last night, Rice. We were here to witness this, and this is the yellow car 37. Watch this. He uses the car as a ramp.
4 abreast does not work at Ventura in stock cars.
This Bob Carpenter got upside down. He was uninjured. In fact, he did more damage to the race car rolling it over than he did in the rollover last night.
Yeah, he works for Circle Track. I guess they'll probably want to put that in their magazine.
They have a blind race out here, so you drive it sometime blind, and I'll be your co-pilot. All right?
No,
we're not going to do that. We're gonna come back with heat race number 3. Stay with us, Thunderheads. Tomorrow, the Loctite USAC Sprint Cars thunder into southern Indiana for a Sunday afternoon get-together at the High Bank Salem Superspeedway. See the stars of USAC Thunder in person on the tricky half-mile paved oval as Salem Speedway presents Thunder in the Hills. One driver equally at home on dirt as pavement is Tony Stewart. He remembers 1 year ago at Bakersfield when Page Jones worked his way through the pack. Here, banging wheels with eventual champion Johnny Cofer. They'll be knocking down the walls again next Saturday night, April 15th, as the USAC Skoal Western States Midgets and TQs compete at Bakersfield Speedway. Can the finish be any closer than this? Couple of great racetracks tomorrow for those of you in the Midwest. The Loctite Sprint Cars of USAC on the high banks of Salem. And, of course, 3 drivers making the red-eye flight back. Kenny Irwin, Dave Darlin, and Tony Stewart for that one tonight. And next Saturday, the Skoal TQ and Western States Midgets from Bakersfield, California.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is the biggest field of cars. Look at this. Paige Jones, get well soon, buddy. We miss you out here.
Paige is watching us this evening down in Los Angeles and making great progress from that serious injury sustained at Eldora last fall in the 4 Crown Nationals. He enjoyed the race that we had out here, about 10 days ago, and he's watching tonight.
And we've talked to some people, and they say he's doing really, really well. The last 2 or 3 weeks, he's made a lot of progress. The doctors are hoping that it's going to continue, and we certainly.
We are ready now for heat race number 3 as we take a look at your starting lineup. Jim Brasso will start inside the front row alongside Jordan Hermansader in the 91 car. He put that car back together after that semi-crash last week. In the second row, Mark DeBeaumont, who was not with us a week ago, and Shane Scully, who carries the camera on board. Dave Darlin, the sprint car shoe from Indiana, making a rare appearance in a midget, alongside Kenny Irwin Jr. in the 4 car. And rounding out the field, Jason Leffler in 71 and Tony Stewart in 36, but Tony Stewart is missing. Tony Stewart is your 3rd fast qualifier this evening, and here he comes.
Yeah,
he is now on the track, so he'll pick up his spot at the back of the field. This should be interesting. This should tell just how good this racetrack is now because he has come from the back.
That's right. He's got pretty... he has a good chance from the back, and he'll tell us what to do. That's Shane Skoal we're seeing up there. He has the end car. I guess we're having a little problem with it. We don't have any picture from it right now, but Shane Skoal is a rookie out here. Of course, Grandpa Louis, the guy that's kind of got him started, he's been racing a long, long time. He's not here tonight. He's at his brother's, Doc Center's, birthday. He's 80 years old. Happy birthday, Doc.
Lou, bring us some birthday cake in a couple of weeks, will you? Flash Jordan Hermansader starts outside the front row, the white 91 car. He owns this car. In fact, he only ran 12 times last year, but that 12th race was a big one. He won the prestigious Turkey Night Grand Prix.
Something a lot of guys run their whole life and never have the opportunity to win. This kid pours every dollar he makes into this race car. He works at Cosworth. He works on a lot of Indy engines, but he takes all that money, pours it right back in there. He loves this sport. I wish him a lot of luck.
Kenny Irwin Jr. Really showed the class of the field last week at Winchester. We'll have some highlights from that race later. He just hooked up with the Hoffman family to run that sprint car on dirt. That's a legendary race car. Man, he had him covered at Winchester last Sunday.
Of course, he got hooked up with Wins last year. They've been a great sponsor for him, and he's done a really great job for him. He's run really good and won a lot of races for him. On the inside is Terry Cave's car that Dave Darland's driving too.
Don't forget, we had the Wins Challenge this evening, $2,000. It rolled over from last week. Somebody could win $2,000. We'll talk about that Wins Challenge.
And look at Herman go.
Look at this melee on the front stretch.
Hermansader jumped out of the lead. That was young Shane Skoal that jumped over a wheel going in there. Almost got upside down.
3 abreast in turn 3. Look at Stewart down on the inside of Dave Darland. They're still gouging and bumping and banging.
I think poor old Kenny Irwin back there in the back's kind of letting him sort out a little bit. He thought it was a little bit too much bumping and gouge for him.
Once again, the first 4 will transfer. Hermansader out in front. Remember last week he had to go through the semi. That's when he got tangled up with the Sleepy Trip and knocked out. But right now he is showing the way. That's
Mark de Beaumont in that 11 car. That's Dave Darland right behind him. Sorry, Gary, I stepped on you there. But Darland is really working hard on him. And look this, Hermansader drops to the bottom. He's changed his line.
Well, of course, Dave Darland now drops back to 4th position, but look at the 36 car. The white 36 on the high side is Tony Stewart. Hey, this track is racy. He can come from the back of the pack. Look at that. He's challenging for the lead. He goes to 2nd, takes the lead. Passes 2 guys down the backstretch.
He passed 4 cars in about a lap and a half right there. He came off running in 4th, went around all 4 of those guys.
Look at Dave Darland in the Terry Caves car. Darland, a sprint car. Guy from Indiana. He's only been in a midget about 5 or 6 times, but he adapts so quickly. He's up to 2nd. Kenny Irwin is 3rd, and 4th now is Hermansader.
Kenny Irwin's come all the way from last. He was running dead last going into corner 1. He's underneath Darland. Almost. And look at Hermansader. He's really battling to hang on for the transfer spot.
One time he looked like he had this field covered. The white flag is out, but he is in jeopardy right now of falling to 5th and finding himself a starting spot in the semi.
Tony Stewart, we got a spin up there in turn 4.
Jason Leffler brings out the yellow. That will bunch them up. But I tell you, this would indicate to me that Tony Stewart is a force to be reckoned with for this feature this evening.
Well, the racetrack has changed a little bit. It was pretty greasy. It was pretty equal all the way up and down the racetrack. Now then, it's developing a little cushion. There's a place on the bottom, and that's poor old Jason Leffler who stopped up there trying to get restarted and get back in this thing. With only 1 or 2 laps, it's going to be tough to come from the back.
Well, there is a look once again at the front of the pack. Tony Stewart, he will take the red eye home. I tell you, he will just have enough time to get back to Salem tomorrow because that red eye does not leave LAX until 1 o'clock in the morning.
Well, supposedly they get in about 9:30 into Indianapolis and have to drive down there, and it's a couple-hour drive, so they won't have any time to spare, that's for sure. But he was spectacular running that eye side as we see Jason Leffler stepping out of his race car. Obviously a pretty disappointed young man right now.
I'll tell you what, he's a fast young man, though, and he has been spectacular out here, and some good things expected from him in the future as he looks over that power plant. We're about to go racing again. We should have the white flag this time, the green and the white together. Dave Darland rides that 2nd position. 3rd now is Kenny Irwin. Irwin slides up almost into it. 4th spot is Hermansader. They come down with the checkered flag, and Tony hangs on. And Hermansader hangs on for the 4th spot. So the rookie Shane Skoal will have to go through that semi-event. But your winner is number 36. There is Mark DeBeaumont in the 11 car that pulled off the racetrack. Actually, he spun down there in turn 4 as the field came down to take the checkered flag. And there is the 23-year-old formerly from Rushville, Indiana, now resides in Indianapolis, your defending USAC National Midget Champion. And there's the guy we talked about earlier that is attempting to go for 3 titles in 1 season. So we'll come back and have a chance to visit with Tony as we see Mark DeBeaumont spin it as the checkered flag was flying.
I'm Bob Jenkins at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway, getting set for the first Union 400 NASCAR Winston Cup race on Sunday afternoon. Remember last week at Bristol, we saw a great shot from underneath Dick Trickle's car, and you can see how close and dangerous it gets out there. And remember Ricky Craven, who went up and over Morgan Shepherd and onto Ken Schrader. Well, if you enjoyed that, you're going to get a kick out of tomorrow. Another short track race is coming up. The top 5 qualifiers, well, Jeff Gordon has done it again, the 4th pole for 1995. Alongside him will be Brett Bodine. In the second row, it'll be Derek Cope and Bobby Hamilton, and the 5th fastest qualifier is Dale Earnhardt. A half-hour pre-race show is on at 12:30 Eastern Time on Sunday afternoon. The green flag for the first Union 400 drops at 1 o'clock Eastern. We hope you will join us. Now back to Gary Lee and Saturday Thunder. Gary, did you ever consider a hairpiece?
Are we on live television, so I can't say what I'm thinking about saying right now, Bob, but that's okay. We'll get you. We'll be watching that tomorrow. In fact, we have a chance to watch that before we fly back to the Midwest. So we'll see if Jeff can pull off another victory at North Wilkes. As we take a look at the panel now, this is the top 5 from heat race number 3. Tony Stewart wins it. Dave Darwin, Kenny Irwin, and Jordan Herman Sater will transfer. Shane Culley was 5th, but he has to go through the semi. Let's go trackside now to Victory Lane. Dave Wilson along with Tony Stewart.
Well, Hank, we're seeing now why last year you were the Skoal National Midget Champion from last place to first in a brand new race car. Tell us about what happened today.
I called the shop about 10 o'clock this morning. They said there wasn't a motor or a rear end in it, so I knew we were going to be in for a long day trying to get the car ready. But Larry Brown, Larry Howard, and all the guys in the crew did a great job getting this done, and I can definitely tell the difference between last year's car that we ran last week and the new car this week.
Now, last time you were here, last time in Ventura, 2nd place, twice in the sprints and the midgets in Winchester, you finished 2nd. We're going to see a first place tonight?
Well, hopefully we'll get a first tonight and then catch the red eye to go back to Salem, Indiana, and hopefully run first in Glen Ivel sprint car tomorrow.
There you go. No huggy pole from our defending national champion, guys.
Well, we promised a lot of highlights along with our live coverage. There was history made 1 week ago at Chico, California, when a young lady won a NARC sprint car feature. Here it is. Just making the feature for the first round of the NARC Golden State Challenge was the challenge at Chico, California last Saturday. In the B feature, the battle for the 4th and final transfer spot was a heated one, as Jimmy Sills moved from 6th to 4th in the final 2 laps. Brian Bullard gave a gallant effort, including this great big wheelie out of turn 4, but Sills hung on to advance. Shauna Wilski was on the pole for the main event with Jason McMillan on the outside. While McMillan was able to hang with her at the start, Shauna would dominate the rest of the evening. On a lap 5 restart, McMillan got together with Chuck Gurney, breaking his rear suspension and causing McMillan to spin out of the race in turn 1. But the evening belonged to the young lady from Washington, who not only became the first woman ever to win a Golden State Challenge race, but any championship touring sprint car main event. Hey, we may have some future racers right here. It's not that uncommon to see a gal in a driving suit in the pit area anymore, Larry Rice. Hey, nice to have you kids along. A great crowd at Ventura. Stay with us. We're coming back. Stay tuned to ESPN. Following our coverage of the midget competition from the West Coast, we'll have Sports Center coming up. Stay with us here for all the live coverage of the Western States Midgets at Sports Center here on ESPN. We are ready now for heat race number 3. We have a car that has stalled along the front straightaway. That is car number 70. And here is
Shane Culley.
Well, Shane is number 7. I don't even have number 70 on my lineup sheet.
I don't know.
Well,
I wish I could help you.
We'll look over with a puzzled look. Fred Teagarden, there it is. Fred Teagarden in number 70, starting outside the front row. Yes, we did have it on the scoring sheet. We just didn't see it.
That's right.
All right, here's your starting lineup now. Up in the front row at number 14 is Craig Dillard. Outside Fred Teagarden, that 70 car that we saw on the front stretch. In the second row, we have Sean Calderwood, the 18-year-old son of Dave Calderwood. Outside number 30, Jeremy Sherman. The third row on the inside, number 24, Jason Jockman. Outside, the 7-time national, make that the 7-time Western States champion, 2-time national champ, Sleepy Tripp. And rounding out the field, Wally Pancrabs at 8, and Jack Runyon, the 4th fast qualifier in the 3X car.
Of course, Jack Runyon had a little trouble earlier. He knocked the rear end out of the thing, had to go in and completely rebuild it. So they put Fred Teagarden on the back also, Gary. They moved him clear back to the back. I don't know whether because he had to have a push start probably from the wrecker as he came out of the pit area.
Well, Dave Calderwood out of Bakersfield, California, brought 4 race cars this evening, 3 midgets and a TQ. This is his 18-year-old son, Sean. He's a graduate of go-karts. In fact, his second or third outings at Hanford, he was 3rd fast qualifier, so perhaps a good future for him. In fact, his sister, Heather, was here this evening with the 4th car, which was a TQ. Heather's a graduate of go-karts as well, so a racing family for sure.
Very, very racy family to be sure.
Well, there's a look at Sleepy Tripp. Sleepy, of course, very competitive. The last time out here, the 7-time Western States champion. He's won 97 times in Western States competition. Would love to win one more time on television. He's won on television from Ascot Park. In fact, he won 4 times at Ascot on TV, but he's never won here.
And of course, all 4 of the former champions and current champions are here, and they received Wally Pancrabs clear in the back. This guy's got the Trent Shoring Easy Core and Larry Brown helping him to get this race car going, and he's really excited about it.
49-year-old veteran from Orange, California in the yellow car, and we go starting now 3 abreast. Hang on there, the 30 car almost in trouble.
And Calderwood, he got all sideways in the back, trying to miss all that mess as they went around there. But meantime,
Craig Dillard out in front. He's being challenged, though. Here comes Sleepy on the inside. The yellow flag is out. The yellow flag is out for Sean Calderwood. Sean had some trouble coming off the 4th corner, and he kind of shakes his head there. And then there's the clutch. See, that left hand is on the clutch handle.
That's the clutch handle that pulled out. We've got the most cars here, Gary. We got 45 cars tonight. That's the most they've had on the Western States race since they've had the clutches on here. So look at this start. We see up front, the white car gets sideways. Bang, 1 bang, 2 bangs as Wally Pancrabs comes in there. And man, oh man, everybody running into everybody as we see Calderwood on the back straightaway. I think he might have just stopped.
Well, Calderwood got hit by Jason Jockman in the red car, and he spins it. Look, he's reaching up to grab that clutch right there. Keep that engine going.
Yeah, he kept her going, got back going again.
He's restarted, and he's going to the back of the pack. A good learning experience, so that's the only way to learn is to get laps in the cockpit.
Well, that's exactly right. A lot of these young kids, I think there's 10 kids out here, all vying for this Rookie of the Year that Sports Images put up, Fast Lane Images, I mean, and they, along with USAC, have offered a cash prize along with a apparel prize. And of course, John Jensen owns Fast Lane Images, and he sells all the No Fear gear and all the good T-shirts and all the stuff down there. And they've got this award for the rookies, both the midgets and the TQs.
That's a good program for both divisions out here on the Western States midgets. There's a look at Sean Calderwood. There's a look at Sleepy Tripp. Trippy has been racing midgets for some 20 years. This is his 20th season. He's a 2-time national champion back in 75 and 76, 7-time champ out here. Rides in 2nd position. He's been real competitive this year.
Yes, I saw him down last winter down in New Zealand. He was really tough down there. He won several races down there. It doesn't look like he's lost any of that edge when he came back up here. But look at this. Trippy's to the bottom, Dillard's to the top, and Runyon's right in behind both of them.
Oh, 3 cars involved in the first turn. Wally Pancrabs got tied up with the 30 car Jeremy Sherman, and then coming into the melee was the 4 car of Calderwood, and he slams the front of Pancrabs, and you can see the damage there to the right corner of Pancrabs' car.
Yeah, it looks like Wally came out on the short end of the stick on this deal because obviously the right front wheel is busted. We see back here, that's Jockman all sideways coming off the 4th corner down into 1. Right behind him is where all the action takes place, though, as Sherman spins. Along comes Pancrabs, just nails him. He's already got the front end busted, and Boulderwood didn't help it any.
Case of Pancratz had no place to go because the white car is setting cattywampus right in front of him, and then Sean is out of control.
Well, they were
he
all...
had no place to go.
That's right. Once Sherman spun in front of him, everybody was just trying to miss the big crash, and obviously neither one of them could.
So there you can see the damage. We are under yellow in heat race number 4 here at the Ventura County Fairgrounds. As the Thunder continues live on ESPN, we'll get them sorted out, get them restarted, and come back with the 4th heat race.
Welcome back to Ventura here for the Thunder. I'm Dave Wilson, and we're with a disappointed Wally Pancratz. Wally, you were moving up there, but it didn't look like you had anywhere to go.
Well, no, the track's real slick, and somebody spun, and I got him, and then the person behind me probably didn't have anywhere to go. It hit me pretty bad. Just, you know, one of those deals on a slick racetrack, and I'm trying out my glasses tonight, and it didn't seem to do me much good.
Now, last week you hit a hole. Now, why did you hit that hole?
Well, about the same place. This is not my most favorite corner, I guess. I got my major sponsors sign, Trent Shoring's right over there, and I keep having trouble every time I get to it, so I don't know what to think.
Well, who knows why he had trouble. He had his glasses on and everything, but he'll be back.
That's your old buddy. You've banged wheels with him in Silver Crown competition over the years. He actually likes those big dirt tracks. Twice he was the runner-up in the USAC Super Modified division. It's a good pavement shoe.
And you can see right there, Gary, there's what he's talking about, the slick racetrack. See that black shiny stuff on the racetrack? That's where the racetrack is taking rubber. You can really see it over there on the other side. If you're not right up on the cushion or down in where it's a little darker, not so shiny, it's really getting slick. So you have to be careful where you run, and if you miss it just a little bit, put your right rear right on that slick dirt, it's going to turn around on you pretty quick.
Throw a flag out. One more lap before we go green, Larry. Only 2 laps complete. We have 6 laps to go. This is the 4th of our 4 heat races. Then, of course, we'll have our 10-lap semi and the 30-lap main event, plus a whole lot of news, qualifying results from the Indy cars at Long Beach, the Formula 1 cars at Argentina. There's the green flag. Right away, Tripp goes to the low side.
Trippy goes, he's right in that wet dirt, right there in the middle of the racetrack where it's a little bit wet. But Dillard's right up on the cushion. Right now, that cushion really seems to be the fast way around. Tony Stewart proved it the last time. Jonkman is up there now in that red car, and that's where he's going fast. Oh,
now look at this. 2 guys, 3 guys go by Dillard.
Dillard got him way high, got all messed up there, and 3 guys just blew him away, and Trippy came out. Oh, Jonkman got hit in the rear end coming off there, and he got all put sideways.
Pair of block 3s up in front. Tripp leads it with 4 laps to go. The 3X car is Jack Runyon out of Carmel, Indiana, in the Jack's Tool rental car.
He's trying very hard. He's running a different groove than Trippy, but this is Jonkman in that red number 24 car, running right up on the cushion. Dillard in the white car following him, trying to catch him. But right now, Jonkman's really got that cushion working for him.
Well, sometimes you have to go to school on the guy in front of you. If the guy is running fast as you are in a different lane, perhaps you have to try that lane.
Yeah, Dillard in that 14 car almost messed up again. He got in a little bit high in 1, and he almost lost a couple more spots.
There's the white flag. 1 lap to go. A battle for second. Jason Jonkman rides the cushion on the high side, and the black 3X stays low. Runyon stays the low side, but drops back in position. As you look at the 14 car of Dillard in the 4th and final transfer position, the checkered flag comes out just as the car spins up in turn 4.
Yeah, Dillard held on for the transfer spot. Those first 3 guys were very, very close as Jonkman trying to get around Trippy and Runyon, but Dillard hung on for that last transfer spot.
Well, of course, Sleepy wins it, but he was not one of the fastest 6 qualifiers, so he'll have to come back from the middle of the pack, and he heads right back to the pit area. He's not even going to stop to be interviewed, so apparently he wants to make some changes to that race car.
Yeah, we see Jeremy Sherman here. He's getting ready to head back.
All right, we come back with all kinds of news and the semi and the feature. Stay with us from Ventura. On 7 occasions, Sleepy has worn number 1 out here as the Western States champion. His fans are here this evening as he wins heat race number 4. Young Jason Jonkman, the Rookie of the Year a year ago, takes 2nd. Jack Runyon from Indiana is 3rd. Craig Dillard hangs on for 4th. He has a spot in the feature, but Brett Teagarden will have to go through that semi because only 4 will transfer.
And Teagarden had to start last. Remember, he was supposed to start up front. He got a push start in that race, and when you do that, you have to go to the back. Otherwise, he might have been up front.
Well, Tripp took right off for the pit area, did not stop in the interview area. So, hey, we've got the king on the run. Dave Wilson is down there with Sleepy now.
Well, Sleepy, you've given us a lot of thrills on the racetrack, and here we got to wonder, you win the heat race and you pull right off. Is there a problem?
Well, you said you haven't been working out much lately, so we thought, King, we thought you'd give you a little run. No, what happens, I had a miss that just kept getting worse and worse. And we got my engine guy here, and we got to rip into it. We got to fix it. The car's not too bad, but the track kind of went away, hadn't it?
When the boys were talking, you've been doing this over 20 years, and last year you didn't get a victory. Is that fire still there to win a feature race for Sleepy Tripp?
Oh, it's still there. Just I had a good season down in New Zealand, so I don't think I'm completely washed up. You know, we've had a rough couple of years here, but I think we'll be all right this year.
Well, you get back to work over there. We'll let you get to work. We appreciate your time.
Sorry for the workout.
That's okay. Sleepy Tripp's going to get to work. But one thing I want to ask you guys up in the booth, I didn't know you guys were Beatle fans.
Oh, hey, we're into Beatle trivia tonight, and we have to thank John Jensen for these ties. Pull it out there. The Beatles have a collection of ties based on their records. This from 1966, Good Day Sunshine. 1966, Drive My Car, because you're the racer. So we have to thank John for these. We appreciate that.
Just don't sing any Beatle tunes.
Not, you know, Drive My Car. I've seen your cars race, and with the exception of your kid's sprint car, I wouldn't want to drive any of them.
That's okay. I've ridden with you, pal. I don't want you driving even the sprint car.
I almost got us to the airport on time last week, didn't I? All right, a lot of racing going on around the country, around the world. In fact, a major event just about 2 hours down the highway from where we are at Long Beach, qualifying a new track record, Michael Andretti. Teammate Paul Tracy takes second. Rookie Gilda Farron in the Pennzoil car is now third. Al Unser Jr. will start fourth. Mauricio Gugelmin will start fifth. And there's Bobby Rahal starting his 200th IndyCar event. 4 times he finished second, but never won at Long Beach. Teo Fabi, Jimmy Vasser, Emerson Fittipaldi, and Scott Pruitt rounding out the top 10. Hey, Formula One, look at that. The Williams teammates running 1-2. Coulthard and Hill. Hill moves up to second in the second day of qualifying. Michael Schumacher in third. Irvine and Hakkinen rounding out the top 5. And don't forget, we will have coverage of the event, the Grand Prix of Argentina, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the Deuce, ESPN2. That is tomorrow night. Now, back to the Midwest, more highlights. It was a great outing. They call it the Border Wars, with the sprint cars at Eldora last Saturday and Winchester on Sunday, plus the National Midgets. Bob Jenkins has this report from the Midwest.
Eric Gordon had a lot to think about. Just a few hours earlier, he had become a father for the first time. He was also remembering his best friend, the late 3-time sprint champion Robbie Stanley. The number 69 sprinter will be driven on dirt this year by Indiana's Terry Shepard. Shepard was outside the second row for the 30-lap feature. Up front were Rusty McClure on the pole and Billy Casella's brother, Mark. Shepard quickly moved to second and challenged Casella for the lead, but couldn't get the job done. In fact, he lost momentum coming off the second corner and could only watch as fast qualifier Dave Darlin moved him back to third. Following a restart after a spin by Jack Hewitt, Darlin moved around Casella for the lead. But the man on the move was the 4-crown sprint champion, Kevin Doty, in the number 25 car using the low groove. And that low line proved to be the best, as on lap 25, Doty pulled off a perfect slide job, took the lead from Darlin, and captured his second straight sprint car victory at Eldora. Now, could Doty pull off a win on the high-banked paved track at Winchester, Indiana, the next day?
It'll be tough. You know, I don't have that much, you know, lap time in on pavement and stuff. Still kind of a learning experience. This will be my first time on the pavement with the sprint car, period. So, see what happens.
First of all, Kevin and the others would have to fight the elements on a cold and blustery early part of the day, one that didn't allow the tires to grip properly. Eric Gordon was just one of many to have close calls during hot laps. But by the end of qualifying, things had begun to heat up, temperature-wise and on the track. Dan Dryden was celebrating a new track record for midgets, bettering Jeff Gordon's old mark by nearly 2 miles an hour. And Kenny Irwin set a new sprint car track record. He'll drive the number 69 car on pavement this year, hoping to carry on its winning tradition.
I'm not saying that I'm Robbie Stanley or Rich Vogler, but you know, I like the sprint car, and you know, I don't mind going fast. So as long as we end up in the winner's circle, I don't think it matters.
Irwin was one of several drivers pulling double duty, starting third in the midget feature. Steve Barth took the early lead from pole sitter Tony Stewart. The lead then changed hands as Andy Michener put this move on Barth in turns 3 and 4. 10 laps from the end, mechanical problems forced Michener to slow, allowing Mike Bliss to take the top spot. He held on for the win and is the new National Series points leader by 1 over Stewart. As Mike turned his attention to the sprint car feature, he was perhaps thinking of something that had happened earlier in the day. In the third heat race, he touched the outside wall while dueling with Eric Gordon and Jim Mahoney, but was able to continue. That was nothing compared to the close call earlier in that heat race between Peter Cozzolino and Doty. Kevin's car was able to be repaired in time for the start of the Rich Vogler Classic. Greg Staub and Chet Phillip led the 20-car field into turn 1. Irwin passed Staub on the 6th lap and led the rest of the way. His win enabled him to duplicate the feats of Vogler and Stanley by being victorious in his first outing in the Hoffman machine. Although Irwin won the race, Tony Stewart was the best overall at both Eldora and Winchester with finishes of 8th and 2nd. He's also the new sprint car points leader heading into Sunday's show at Salem.
And looking at the point standings now for the USAC Loctite National Sprint Cars. Again, Tony Stewart leads. Doug Coletta, your reigning champion, is second. Then Eric Gordon, Bill Rose, and Trey House. There's Mike Bliss now, leading the midget standings over Tony Stewart, Dan Drynan, Kenny Irwin Jr., and Steve Barth. Now, this is what happened as you were watching the highlights from Winchester and Eldora. This is what the fans here saw. Water. Jim Naylor out in the water truck, watering down this quarter-mile dirt bank track here at Ventura. That's what it looks like right now, a live shot. The trucks are out ironing the track out. How does this change the track? What is the thinking in ironing the track out?
Well, they try to put more water in it. They try to bring it back to life. Where it was shiny and slick, they're trying to get a little bit moisture into it, but it's hard to do once it gets that slick.
All right, we still have the semi to go in a 30-lap main event. A lot more midget action coming your way from the Ventura County Fairgrounds in Ventura, California.
Hey, you're back on Thunder in Ventura, California, kids. The action keeps on going. I'm Dave Wilson here with you. Right now, we're getting ready for the semi. The action back in the pit area has to be the big thrash with Sleepy Trip. Is that engine going to be up for him to make the feature? Also, Johnny Cofer, can he get in the race? And, of course, out here on the West Coast, you see all kinds of neat folks hanging out. And this guy next to me, Danny Drynan, is here. Now, Danny, what are you doing hanging out here? Trying to sell some midgets?
Definitely not. We've changed that, shut down our business for that, but we're pursuing some Indy lights and hopefully going into the Indy cars. With a race at Long Beach this weekend, we came out to talk to a lot of people and express our interest and just see what's going on.
Of course, you're a racer of some magnitude. Let's just test your baseball IQ. What do you think? Okay, who was the great Bambino?
Andy Granatelli? I don't know. I don't know anything about baseball. I'm a racer.
Racers don't care about baseball, kids. All they want is no huggy pole. Back up top.
Okay, we'll put a period on that, I suppose, as the track is being worked in now. We're getting ready for our semi-event, as some of the cars are out there right now, including Johnny Cofer, your defending Western States champion. We could have some hot dogs in this one right now. One guy who's on a roll is Billy Bowl. He's won the last 2 times on dirt. Did not qualify all that well this evening, only 22nd, but he's in the feature. You going for the championship this year?
No, not right now. John and I talked about it at the first of the year, and we decided that we were going to concentrate on winning races and not so much worry about points. Last year we worried about points a little bit, and I think it distracted from our program a little bit. So right now we're just concerned with winning races.
Last year you ran 20 shows. You finished second in the points. But prior to that, over a 4 or 5 year period, you ran 11 times only in Western States competition. 93, only 4 outings, but you won 3 of them. So we happen to know that you were running sprint cars also in the CRA at that point. And also, we have some video of you in an ARS car running the rear engine on pavement. Now, what happened to that program?
That was a program that we got started with Pat Patrick right at the beginning of ARS, when they didn't have very many cars, and they needed people to run the cars, and we were lucky enough that Pat gave us the opportunity to do that. And we were able to do that for about a year and a half, I guess, until they started getting more cars, and we needed more funds, and they didn't have them, so we kind of moved back into the sprint car
program. Buying the ride business again.
Yeah, you know, it takes a lot of money to run those cars, and if you don't have the sponsorship behind you, you know, it's a difficult program to get into.
But I have to ask, there's a big show about 2 miles down the, or 2 hours, I should say, down the shoreline at Long Beach. Would you rather be down there racing a rear engine car this weekend?
It's a good question. I think I'm very happy where I am. I think if I was going to be anywhere, I'd rather be down south. You know, the IndyCar program, very difficult to get into, not a lot of opportunity. I think the stock car program has more opportunity, if anything, as far as I would be looking at.
Well, we know all you guys out racing this weekend are just like baseball players. You have big retainers, you have big multi-million-dollar contracts, right?
Sure, yeah, John takes care of me real well.
You have to work for a living, don't you?
Absolutely.
And you do what during the week when you're not in the cockpit?
I have a company called B&B Fabrication, and we manufacture aftermarket performance exhaust systems, stainless steel headers and mufflers. And our main concentration had been Porsche in the past, but we're now moving into general applications. We're doing a carbon fiber muffler, which we developed and tested on our Midget, and we're bringing that into some general application performance cars. I've got about 15 employees, and it's a very hectic pace. You know, I got 3 kids and a big family, and it's between the business and the family and racing, I got a full plate, that's for
sure. And he's still looking for that big contract someplace. Yeah, all these guys have full-time jobs, and I flat guarantee you these guys will not strike. We'll never interrupt a baseball game to talk about a strike in motorsports, at least in midget competition. You know, there is a neat new series, the NASCAR Super Trucks. And of course, we had a chance earlier today to watch them here on ESPN.
It's tremendous. A lot of new guys getting a chance, and a lot of really good guys that haven't had a chance before getting a chance.
Well, let's take a look now at what happened down there at Tucson. Ron Hornaday, a stock car veteran, wins it, but P.J. Jones runs second. Rick Corelli, Joe Ruttman, and Jack Sprague rounding out the top 5. Now, NASCAR sanctions stock car racing and truck racing. Did you know they also sanctioned IndyCar racing? Here's Donald Davidson.
Wait a minute. A car which won the Indianapolis 500 also won a NASCAR title? There must be some mistake. But no, it's true. In 1952 and briefly in 53, NASCAR sanctioned what was known as the Speedway Division. It was for open cockpit, open wheel cars utilizing stock car engines. The 1952 championship was won by Buck Baker, driving this car, which used a Cadillac engine. It's the very same car which, when it had an offie, won the 1941 500, driven by 2 drivers. Floyd Davis started the race, but handed over during a pit stop at 72 laps to Maury Rose, who went on to win. Thus, there are co-winners in victory lane. Joey Chitwood and Sam Hanks both drove it on its way to 5th in 1946, and in 1949, the driver was 19-year-old Troy Ruttman. After its NASCAR days, the car sat for years in a garage in Charlotte, North Carolina, before being taken north to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Hall of Fame Museum. It was restored to its 1941 livery and is on display today. So, Maury Rose won with this car, but so did Buck Baker. For Thunder, this is Donald Davidson.
Hey, mark your calendar. We're back on Thursday. The Skoal Western States Midgets on the Thunder. The 27th of April, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 here on the coast. Our 3rd and final visit of this spring out here. And let's take a look at Jay Drake and the Steve Lewis car. That's the Beast Gurney. Now, that engine is well-traveled, is it not?
Well-traveled. They said it's got a more frequent flyer miles than anybody here at the racetrack. They ran 8th here last week. They took the engine out. They flew it back to Indiana. They won at Winchester with that engine.
With Mike Bliss driving.
With Mike Bliss driving. They went to IRP and tested with it on Tuesday, put it back on the airplane, and flew it back out here. That's the only engine they've got left. They've got a couple more. They blew one up at Hanford. They've got a couple more in the works, but that's the only engine they got left, so they got to go back and forth with it.
We talked about a driver last week that didn't make it to the racetrack, but he's here this week.
Graham Standring made it all the way here from New Zealand. He got all of his passport problems solved. He made it back. He came back. He took this 92 car. He put all new suspension on it. They worked on it all night last night, putting the New Zealand setup on it. They had a little trouble earlier, but he really thinks with this new kind of suspension that he's kind of come up with down there, he's got the hot tip.
Another Midwestern driver in this semi, the 5 car of Tony Elliott. Tony is from Kokomo, Indiana, where he's a used car dealer up there. That's how he makes his living during the week, drives race cars in the weekend. A darn good shoe on dirt. In fact, he was runner-up in the USAC Midget division a couple of years ago.
That's right. Of course, he got hurt last summer. I think it was in Hanford in the sprint car that he got hurt and hurt his back. He was laid up for a while, but he's back going as strong as ever right now. And really a good guy. A lot of fun to be with and a heck of a race car driver. Right now, we're looking for Shane Scully. We're inside the thing. They got the camera fixed so she's working. Look out there. That's Donnie Beechler stopped on the outside down the back straightaway. What they're doing right now is they're put a lot of water on this racetrack. They're trying to run it in. There's a look at Donnie Beechler. I don't know what happened, whether he just stalled the engine or whether he's got problems and heading for the pit area, but either way, he's getting the push from the push truck, and it looks like he's heading on back into the pit area.
That is the Zarunian car. George the dad, Gary the son, and I imagine George is chomping on that cigar right now. George enjoys those great, big, long stogies, but he's probably upset right now because Beechler, with a good ride, that's a good, solid team. He had bad luck a week ago, bad luck tonight.
And you can see why they're out there trying to run the racetrack in. The water they put on it has really made it slick. The push truck slid right down the racetrack as they were trying to go in that pit exit. There's quite a good bank up there, and it was so slick, they just slid right down the racetrack. Race car and push truck, everybody. And that's why they're out there trying to run this racetrack in, get some of that moisture worked off of it. I don't know how many have ever tried to walk across a slick, wet racetrack, but believe me, when they're that wet, it's really, really hard.
Well, Beechler is a young driver that grew up in the Midwest. He's from Springfield, Illinois, but actually moved here over the winter months to drive full-time for the Zarunians. In fact, he's a full-time racer, and he's had some mechanical problems, but this is a good racing team.
Well, it's a great racing team. Of course, Sleepy ran for them a long time. They've had a lot of other good drivers along the way. They've been around for a long time, and they've always had the best equipment. Of course, that's one of the things that it takes in this business. You have to have very, very good equipment.
Well, a guy that's had some tough luck tonight, actually, is George Ito. Ito had to go through the non-qualifiers race.
Here we see a sign, go George Ito. He's very, very popular out here. He won a heat race last week, and the whole grandstand stood up and hollered. Of course, he's got this great T-shirt that says George the Judge Ito, and he does look like the judge. I was out there in the pits a little earlier, and he and his brother both are running, so they gave me two gavels, one big one, one little one. He said the big judge and the little judge.
Yeah, well, you taking the big gavel home, or am I? Ito is a 39-year-old veteran. He's been racing the midgets for about 5 years, a former Rookie of the Year. He's a go-kart champion, some 200 go-kart victories before he switched to midgets, and he just helped his brother put a new midget together that's just arrived here with the engine in it this afternoon. Actually put the car together in the pit area, but his younger brother Henry failed to make the feature. Johnny Kofer starts up in front alongside Donnie Beechler, but Beechler is in the infield out of the car. John Sarna, Jay Drake in the second row. In the third row, Rick Hendricks and Tony Elliott. They move on through the pack. Row 4, J.R. Lawson and Carl Olson out of New Zealand. The fifth row on the inside, Shane Scully with the camera on board in 56. Jeremy Sherman outside in 30. Row 6 is Mark DeBeaumont and Sean Calderwood. The seventh row, Fred Teagarden and Jim Brosso. In row 8, George Ito and Graham Stanring. They finished 1 and 2 in that non-qualifiers race, so they have starting spots at the back of the semi. Let's go trackside and Dave Wilson.
Well, we're down here with Donnie Beechler, and Donnie's working with his crew and all there. Donnie, can you spare a minute here? What happened?
We've been fighting rear end problems last week. We put a new rear end in everything, and I think it's plagued us again.
Tough break. Do you think you could have made the race in this semi?
Yeah, they wet the track down a little bit, and I think once it got worked in, it'd have been fast, but we were starting up front on the front row. We had a pretty good shot.
Well, disappointed Donnie Beechler won't be part of our feature here tonight, guys.
Well, it's a tough break, Gary, for a guy like Donnie Beechler. He's come here 2 weeks in a row with some of the best equipment going, and they've had problems. And everybody expected him to be really one of the top dogs on these West Coast races this year.
This will be the semi. The furled flag is out. 1 lap to go before we turn them loose. Only 4 will transfer. Now, unlike the heat races, these semis are starting straight up, the fastest qualifiers in front.
That's right. Besides Beechler, John Sarna and Wally Pankratz have both scratched, so some of these guys in the back have a good chance of moving forward.
Here they come. The green should fly this time by. Indeed it does. 10 laps, the semi on the last chance race. The B main. Whoa, a car in the fence. John Calderwood got bumped into the fence, but he continues on.
The racetrack is very, very slick right now. You can see everybody's kind of thrashing around, trying to find a place to run right up front. Of course, Drake took off. Was leading it. Kofer giving him a battle down on the bottom.
Well, Koper, the Esslinger engine, and the Gertie power plant rides in second right now.
Yep. Koper got up on the cushion. Looks like the cushion's getting worked in just a little bit. Drake's still trying to run the middle of the racetrack.
Hendricks up to third, and Elliott rides in fourth position.
Oh, look at
Lawson has a steering problem. The steering was broken on that car before he hit the wall.
J.R. Lawson went up there. He just absolutely couldn't turn it. Almost went right out the exit of the, that's the pit exit he's sitting in. Right in the middle of the pit exit. He was trying to get that thing turned away from the fence, but obviously something was already
Well,
busted.
you saw Sean Calderwood look like he may have been headed for the pit entrance, and he saw that car parked up there, and he slid on by him. You can see the damage to the right front. That occurred when he hit the wall, but the damage was done to the left front before he hit the wall.
You can see the axle was sticking out underneath there. Here we see, that's Carl Olson in his 3 car. Oh, oops, he banged him right there. Hit the left front. He did. He hit the left front, but the right front went into the wall, and I think the right front was busted. That's what happened.
Well, let's see if we can go in car for the start. The rookie Shane Scully now rides in that number 56 car. There is, oh, look at Calderwood got over the rear of the 12 car of Hendricks, almost got the fence, gathered it in, and continues on. He is still out there.
Believe me, when the front wheels are in the air, those things don't steer worth a darn. It's a good thing he kept it off the fence as well as he did.
It's not like a tractor pull. When the front end's in the air, you steer it with the brakes. That doesn't happen in this kind of race.
That's right, that's right. When you run over a wheel like that and the front end gets that far up in the air, you're in real trouble. He's lucky he didn't hit the fence and tear things up a lot worse than he did. Of course, J.R. Lawson, not a very happy person right there.
Well, there's a good look at him, but that's not exactly the way he wants to be seen on ESPN television. And he's looking for somebody. Is he? Yeah, he did. I thought maybe he was going to point a finger to somebody.
I'm not sure he knows who it was. Just like last week, we had a little bit of that finger pointing. And guys don't get too happy when they get run into the fence like that.
Well, you have to realize that these guys, many of them own their own cars. They have to maintain their own cars. You know, and these are expensive race cars, and when you get them torn up, you can't be too happy about it.
Yeah, I think his father, John Lawson's luck has run out just a little bit. That guy, of course, they won a couple of races here already, and Billy's in the feature, but it looks like it's run out. He's so lucky earlier, I flipped him for a hamburger. He even won that, so I'm not having any kind of luck.
3 laps down, 7 laps to go, the 10-lap semi, the B main, and we'll get things sorted out and come back. So we'll take this commercial break and come back to finish our semi. Then we'll have a 30-lap main event from Ventura. Back live at Ventura, the Thunder continues right now with the semi. 3 laps are in, the top 5. Koper, Drake, Hendricks, Elliott, and Sherman. The green flag flies. We are racing again. You have missed nothing in the way of action this evening from Ventura. Only 4 will transfer, and right now it looks like Johnny Koper has him covered.
Look at this. Jay Drake's losing the spot down there as Hendricks goes around him on the bottom side. Oh, we got another car in the fence.
That was Giorgito. We got 2 cars in the fence. Giorgito first just tapped the wall, and it looked like Calderwood tried to avoid Ito and got on the brakes too hard. The rear end came around and he hit the wall.
Yeah, I think what happened is right above the cushion, it's still wet slick. I think poor old George went in there just barely above the cushion, got in that wet slick dirt, slid up into the fence, and I think trying to miss him, Shane just misjudged a little bit.
There's Sean, yeah, there's Sean in the other DuPont car. And he's going to get maybe a ride to the infield. I'm not sure if that's a 2-spin rule applying here. Let's take a look at the replay. You see, first of all, Ito, and here comes Calderwood. He's already backed it up into the fence. And let's take a look at one more angle. I tell you, we haven't covered from all the angles here this evening.
Great cameraman here as we see. Here's George Ito back there in the back. He just got in up there just where it's just a little bit too slick, right above the cushion. Went up there, tapped the fence. He just came to a stop. Sean Calderwood just kind of followed him almost in the same spot and did almost the same thing.
That looks like Ito will get restarted. I think Calderwood is being pushed to the infield. I think that would be the 2nd spin rule for him. So the 18-year-old youngster from Bakersfield, California.
That was a tough break for George Ito. He had come from dead last to 6th before that little incident up there. He had a very, very good chance of making this race, but it's going to be a little bit tougher.
Well, they pushed Sean Calderwood off, and he is going to take up residency at the back of the pack with Ito. So we'll see what Ito can do here in the waning laps of this 10-lap semi. As the green flag flies, only 4 will transfer. Koper, your defending Western States champion and now fast qualifier with a new track record this evening, continues to show the way off the corner down the backstretch.
Yes, this is Tony Elliott in that black number 5 car right there. He's got the transfer spot right now. You can see him. He's the 4th car back. And
we have a yellow flag. Yellow flag once again. Calderwood brings out the yellow. And he engaged the clutch and drove down off the banking, but the yellow was out already, so he'll go at the back of the pack.
Yeah, he's got that clutch deal figured out, all right. He needs to be able to figure out how to get around turn 3 right now.
About 300 and some horsepower in a 900-pound race car as you look out the back of Shane Scully's car at the number 73 of George Ito. Ito is the strawberry farmer, and he is so kind. He brings strawberries to us every week out here.
He's the judge of the strawberries. That's what he's the judge of.
Well, we resume racing in the semi, and once again, the top 4 status quo. They remain locked in that single file parade off the corner. The gap opens up a bit between first and second. There's a look at second. Jay Drake in the Steve Lewis Performance Racing car.
Yeah, he's working pretty good. Cofer's pulled away from those 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th place cars right now. That's Tony Elliott in that black car running in the transfer spot. Jeremy Sherman in that white car right behind him, working very hard on him. He's trying to run a little bit higher than Elliott, trying to find a way to get that last transfer spot.
Well, Elliott has a lot of dirt track savvy right now, but he loses the spot.
Yes, he does. We see George Ito. He's pulled into the infield. He's out for the night. Tough break for George. But Jeremy Sherman did. He gave a big slide job to Tony Elliott going into turn 1. Pulled right on away, and now that Tony Elliott's got to battle back if he can get back into that transfer spot.
White flag out this time by. Elliott continues. Oh, look, he's going to make it by because we've got a spin up there, and he continues on. Sherman was able to continue on, but he gave that spot back to Elliott.
He just felt the pressure. Elliott was pressuring him. He felt the pressure. He went in there and just got a little bit sideways. Elliott drove on by him, and Elliott does come in and forth and get that transfer spot.
Well, I can tell you that all the drivers already locked into the feature were up in the grandstands watching this race. They wanted to see what the racetrack was like.
And I'll tell you something else. I'm not too sure they learned a whole lot because it changed from the start of that race to the end, and it's going to change a great deal in the feature race also.
So right now, Johnny Kofer, who will start outside the 3rd row, really has the advantage because he has the textbook on the racetrack.
Well, yeah, he's got an advantage over the guys who ran earlier races, but it's still going to be anybody's game come feature time.
Well, he knows where victory lane is because he won 6 races last season toward his championship. As we take, I think, a couple of highlight looks here as we head to break, we'll come back with the 30-lap main event. Johnny Kofer takes the victory in the semi. He'll be starting outside row 3 in the main event. Jay Drake, Rick Hendricks, and Tony Elliott also transferred. Doggone it, Mark de Beaumont only finished 5th. That was not good enough. You know, when you think of racing in the Deep South, you think of stock cars. Not the case. The World of Outlaws went to Memphis and then on down to Mississippi last week. Here are the highlights. The sprint cars of the wing variety, namely the World of Outlaws, were in Memphis, Tennessee last Saturday, with Danny Lasowski blasting the lead from the pole position. His advantage didn't last long, however, as Mark Kinzer took over first place with this inside move in turn 2 on the 8th lap. Trying to pass a slower car 11 laps later, Kinzer spun, handing the lead back to Lasowski. The dude was on his way to victory lane when he thought someone must be playing a bad April Fool's Day joke on him. His car sputtered on the white flag lap out of fuel. Dave Blaney took advantage of the bad luck and won his first race of the year. Then it was on to Magnolia, Mississippi, where Lasowski found himself out front again. That's Kinzer challenging high on the last lap, but Danny held on for the narrow victory. Incredible as it seems, there hasn't been a repeat winner in the first 6 Outlaw main events.
Hey, Gary, we've been doing this stuff for 10 years. 10 years of Thunder, and you're the only guy that's been here for all 10 years.
Hey, I can remember the very first race at the Speedrome back in 1986 with the USAC Midgets. We've expanded the sprint cars, the Silver Crown cars. We have a decade of Thunder. One of the more memorable occasions here came in 1991 when P.J. Jones hit everybody in the feature. Watch this, P.J., remember? Jimmy Sills gave us a thrill as he bicycled and lost the lead and a Nerf bar. But the real star of the night was P.J. Jones. And look at P.J. Oh, man, right up over the berm, right past home. P.J. and Chris get together.
He really looks like he doesn't care. He's going to go for it and begin his way. Look out there.
Oh, he got into Sills. He got into Sills.
Jamie, Christmas, I'm going to tell you now, there's a difference between being hungry and being silly. That I was silly. P.J. up there, we can see he's in heavy traffic.
P.J. blocked behind
I mean, PJ didn't show very much finesse when he went through these people tonight. He hit everybody and everything in his way. I'm not saying he's not a great race car driver, but tonight he was using a little bit too much aggressiveness through that field.
4 laps to go. Robbie Flock has the lead, but here comes Jimmy Sills. Flock, bicycle to the high side, and Sills has the lead down the backstretch.
Oh, man, oh, man. He's going to go high. He'll go high. He's back in front.
Jimmy Sills, the veteran from Watsonville, California, takes the victory. I have to believe that Parnelli Jones is watching along with Paige this evening. Parnelli's probably doing this right now. Paige is laughing, and I don't know if PJ's watching because he ran that super truck race earlier today, but he hit everything but the pace car that night.
Man, I'll tell you what, we've had some tremendous races here, but that's got to be one of the most memorable nights of all the years that I've been here, and I've been here only half as long as you have.
Yeah, Parnelli's sitting there going like this back there in L.A. watching, because that was embarrassing to watch the kid do that. That was fun, that watching. We're not making that much fun of you, PJ, if you're watching. Let's go back to the pit area, and do you have an update now on Sleepy?
Yeah, we do. Good news for you Sleepy Trip fans. They put a new mag in his car. Sleepy says everything seems to be okay. He's hoping it's going to be a thumbs up for the future. Also, a great look in the eye of number 36, Tony Stewart. Watch out, guys. That guy is hooked up. We'll be back for more action here on a special Saturday night edition of Thursday Night Thunder live in Ventura after this.
Onboard cameras provided by CarQuest Auto Parts. For your nearest CarQuest Auto Parts store, give them a call, 1-800-492-HEART. Hey, there's Ivan Dent with the RF equipment. Hey, give us a big wave. And we thank Mike Rolls for Rolls Scaffolding helping us out here to give us those great shots from the in-car and the great shots from our camera position. Let's take a look now at what has transpired so far this evening. First of all, the heat race results. Heat race number 1 was won by Keith Roush over Walt Johnson, Dennis Hart, and Robbie Flock. Those 4 transferred. Donnie Beechler was sent to the semi. Robert Delackey won the second heat over Hank Butcher, Billy Boat, and Jimmy Sills. Rick Hendricks had to go to the semi. The third heat, Tony Stewart had him covered on the high side over Dave Darland, Kenny Irwin Jr., Jordan Hermansader, and Shane Scully. Finally, the 4th race went to Sleepy Trip. Ron won that one over Jason Jockman. Jack Runyon, Craig Dillard, and Fred Teagarden had to go to the semi. In the semi, Johnny Kofer showed the way over Jay Drake, Rick Hendricks, and Tony Elliott. Those 4 transferred to the main event. Mark DeBeaumont is a spectator. And Larry, we are ready for 30 laps of racing. This should be a dandy. Let's set the starting lineup for you. The fastest 6 from qualifying are inverted. Rick Hendricks starts on the pole, number 12. Jay Drake outside, although that's 36 right there, Tony Stewart. In the second row, we have Jack Runyon and Tony Stewart. In row 3, Jimmy Sills and Johnny Kofer. In the 4th row, Kenny Irwin Jr. and Sleepy Trip. In row number 5, we have Tony Elliott and Dave Darland, a pair of Indiana drivers. Then we move on to Jason Jockman in 24, Dennis Hart outside in 16. In the 8th row on the inside, Robbie Flock, a 3-time Western States champion in 6. Billy Boat, a winner here the last time out. Walt Johnson will start inside row 8 in 63. Jordan Hermansader outside in 91. In the 9th row on the inside, Hank Butcher will have the in-car camera. He's at number 31. Keith Roush, winner of the first heat race, starts outside. And the 10th row, Robert Delackey in 7, Craig Dillard in 14. Well, Johnny Kofer, of course, set the track record in qualifying. He is your defending series champion, won 6 times last year, looking for his first victory. He won 4 times here at Ventura.
Yes, and we drew the names for the Wins Challenge tonight. Johnny Kofer came out 2 out of the 3. He was a fast qualifier and the winner of the semi, so he's we've only got two chances to win tonight. Keith Rouse is the other guy that has a chance to win that $2,000, but Johnny Kofer, if that's luck, he got 2 out of the 3 draws straight out of the hat, so luck might be on his side.
Well, that's right. The Wins Challenge rolled over, was not claimed our last outing, so $2,000 if Johnny Kofer can win tonight. And we're riding along right now with 50-year-old Hank Butcher. Like this guy. He's going to give us some great shots this evening, but he did not qualify all that well, so he starts way back in the 9th row.
It's a great story. He was telling me about how his brother was a struggling artist. Nobody had ever heard of him. A guy by the name of John Glenn, the astronaut, came along in a mall show in Denver, Colorado one day and says, hey, you do tremendous work. why don't I help you out? I'll come sign autographs. He said ever since that guy, they ran an ad in the paper, John Glenn came and helped him out. He's been nothing but on and upward since then. And, of course, we all know that he's a great, great artist and has all the precious moments today.
He designs the precious moments.
Exactly.
And Hank was actually a model
That's
for
right.
one of his precious
The one
moments.
who was a race car driver, that was modeled after his brother, Hank Butcher, who's here tonight, and still hard at it.
All right, as they are taking form now, 30 laps. Once again, the fastest 6 drivers from qualifying are inverted, which means your fast qualifier, Johnny Kofer, starts outside row 3. That should be interesting. I don't think he is aware that he has the wins challenge money riding on his head. Double green flag. We are underway at Ventura. The Thunder on the dirt. Oh, look at that gaggle of cars. 3, 4, 5 abreast. And that was Dave Darlin up there on the berm, actually in the infield. Look at this scramble up in front.
I think that was Stewart that got sideways down there and caused all that commotion down there. Turns 1 and 2. He got in there a little hot on the bottom, and meantime, all the crowd went by him. He's got a long, long way to go now.
Well, Kofer is up to 4th already, making a move on the inside of that blue number 1, the Esslinger power plant. And look on the high side, Jimmy Sills. Sills, a 4-time winner here at Ventura, working the high groove. He goes into 3rd spot. And now moves down to the middle of the racetrack.
We talk about him a whole lot a couple years ago. He kind of faded away last year, but believe me, he's not fading anywhere tonight. He has come from back in about 6th or 7th spot, 5th spot, and is already up to 2nd.
Well, Jim Wright out of Michigan, who builds those Buick power plants, the Freight Buick, if you will, is here this weekend working on that race car engine, and he has it dialed in as Sills rides in 2nd position. Your leader is still the number 9 car of Jay Drake. That's the Gurney power plant that has all those laps on it.
And that white car now running in 3rd is Tony Stewart. After he got all messed up down there in that very first corner, he's come all the way back up and running in 3rd position right now. Rick Hendricks in the 12 car running 4th.
Billy Vogt also moving up in the 15 car, so can Vogt make it 3 dirt wins in a row? He has the time to do it. Right now, your leaders are not getting away, and here is Tony Elliott. Tony Elliott, the sprint car veteran from Kokomo, Indiana, pulls off in the infield.
Billy Vogt started in 14th spot. He's already up to about 6th spot. He's really running through the traffic. Pretty doggone good. But right now, Jay Drake, we haven't talked much about him, but he's set about a 6 or 8 car length lead on Jimmy Sills, and he's really got things under control.
Well, you can see where the groove is now, taking up on what cushion there is up there, running on the high side.
That's exactly right. That cushion's, it's getting slick right below it, so you have to make sure you hit that cushion in order to run really good. Right now, Jay Drake went in there just a little bit underneath the cushion right there, but it looked like it helped him.
10 laps down, back to the in-car camera. You're riding behind Delackey, Robert Delackey, in that black and kind of a green number 7 car is out there in front of the number 31 of Hank Butcher. Back to the lead, and the lead now looks like it's closing down.
Yeah, Sills has closed down about half of that lead down on him, and he's right underneath him right now. He's running the bottom of the racetrack. Oh, he almost got underneath him right there going through 1 and 2. Again, right there, he's running the middle of the racetrack. There's a wet spot right in the middle of the racetrack. He seems to have found it. It seems to be just a little bit faster as he slides up in front of him.
Same chassis, both Beast chassis, but one has the Gurney. The white car has the Gurney. The multicolored DuPont car has that 4-cylinder Freight Buick.
And look at Tony Stewart, the other white car right there. He's underneath Jay Drake right now. Also, he's running Larry Pound's car.
Half the race down, half the race to go. 15 down, 15 to go. Oh, they almost get together.
Jay Drake tried to get in there, tried to give him a little bit of a slide job, but when he did it, he gave Tony Stewart an opening. Now Stewart's running to 2nd. Now he's back under Stewart.
Well, Stewart's on the high side, though, and that's the lane to have right now. The only guy that's been able to run down low very well so far has been Sills. But look at Drake. Drake made the pass, made it stick.
As you say that, Tony Stewart caught just a little bit of a run up there, got a little bit sideways. Then he went back a spot. But look right now, the bottom of the racetrack seems to be pretty doggone good as he goes right to the bottom of the racetrack and right on around Jay Drake.
Drake almost spins. He slides to a stop. And that brings out the yellow. Now, this is what Kofer needed to bunch up that pack, and he still has a shot at that $2,000 wins challenge money.
Tough break for young Jay Drake. We see on there owner Steve Lewis, and believe me, owner Steve Lewis is not real happy right now.
Well, Steve and his wife and young son are here this evening watching their car in action. Here is the replay. Watch what happens, Larry.
They were just battling really hard. He got in there, he hit that bump, and as he hit that bump, he slid down off the cushion, down into the slick part of the racetrack. The race car just got sideways. He got it straightened around, as we see right here. He gets in there, he catches that big hole right there. The car bounces a little bit, and as it does, as the rear end comes off of the ground, it gets real light. He hit the black stuff, he got sideways, he got it straightened around, but he lost so much momentum, he just couldn't keep the engine running.
All right, 17 laps now complete, 13 laps to go, and we can count back to, I think, 6th position, or 7th position is where Kofer is. We take a look at the top 5, Sills, Drake, Stewart, Hendricks, and Boat.
Billy Boat started in 14th position.
And he is up to 5th, and he is on the move as we look at the 4X car, the DuPont car, the Dave Calderwood-owned car. The driver from Placerville, California, that is Jimmy Sills. He is the reigning USAC Silver Crown champion, a 2-time Silver Crown champion USAC competition.
Actually, Boat is 4th because Jay Drake has fallen out, so that moves him up one more spot. So it's Sills, Stewart, Hendricks, and Billy Boat in 4th position. So Boat's moved up 10 spots, and right behind him is Dave Darland in 5th in that Terry Caves car. And Caves very happy with the job that Dave Darland's been doing for him since he's been out here.
Well, Dave, of course, is the sprint car veteran from Indiana with very few laps in a midget, but this is a good race car for him. And 3 wide on the restart. Here they come. Let's see what, well, it looks like Boat moves to 3rd. Boat's up to 3rd, puts the challenge on the white 36 as they all move through the corner now. Boat is up to 3rd. He did not qualify all that well, as you alluded to, started at the 5th point in the pack. He is up to 3rd, challenging for 2nd, but he has Dave Darland hot on his heels.
Rick Hendricks got a terrible restart. He went all the way from 3rd to about 6th or 7th spot. I don't know what happened to him, but he really got a tough break on that restart. And look at Boat down on the bottom. He really almost gave Tony Stewart a slide job you couldn't believe. And that's exactly the way those two battled all week last week.
Well, but it looks like right now, with about 10 laps to go, it looks like Sills has them covered unless Sills should happen to make a mistake or catch one of the ruts out there.
Well, of course, they're all looking for different places. Look at Billy Boat. He's down on the bottom of the racetrack. If that racetrack changes just a little bit, it looks faster down in 1 and 2 down on the bottom. See how fast he is down there? It's not a fast place down in 3 and 4. He can't do the same down on this end. Oh, he tries to.
Oh, they almost get together. That is Stewart in the white 36, the black 15, Billy Boat, and they, in fact, do close in just a bit on Jimmy Sills.
Yeah, if they weren't battling each other, if they were out on the open, oh, look at this, they did
contact.
Boat almost kills the engine. He got slowed down so much. Dave Darland in the number 2 car caught up with him now.
All right, they're not battling now. Let's see if Stewart can indeed close in on Sills.
Well, Stewart's doing everything he can. You can see them all. They're running. The racetrack is really funny tonight. There'll be a dry spot and then a wet spot. So it's slick and then real tacky, and they're both trying to find the fast spot.
Jimmy Sills won 2 times on television here in '91, twice in '92.
Oh, he just hit a hole up there. He just gave him an opportunity.
Last year, Tony Stewart won twice, and they're battling right now for the lead, but Stewart gets that rut up there.
Yeah, the racetrack is funny. If you just hit it just a little bit wrong, it can make a big difference. That time they both got through 1 and 2 very clean. Look at Stewart. Oh, he catches a row. It's a
yellow flag. Number 14 brings out the yellow. Dillard spins up there. Now, we'll have to see what Mr. Stewart might have in mind for Mr. Sills on the restart. We still have just less than 10 laps to go in the 30-lap main event from Ventura Speedway here in California. Stay tuned. We're coming right back with the finish. We continue under yellow with only 4 laps remaining. Jimmy Sills and Tony Stewart out in front. Billy Boat rides 3rd. Then it's Dave Darland and Sleepy Tripp. One, the driver was just black flagged by Brian Howard, and I believe that to be the number 4 car, the other number 4 car of Kenny Irwin, the Wins car, which is a teammate of your leader, Jimmy Sills.
Yeah, these first 3 guys have been putting on a heck of a show. Dave Darland and Sleepy Tripp, they've kind of snuck up there in the top 5, but these first 3 guys really been putting on a clinic.
There they come. Green flag, 4 laps to go. Sills in the blacker, in the blue car, the white car.
Oh, look at Boat. He went right to the bottom, caught that big rut, slid right up in front of everybody.
And Tripp goes by 2. Oh, 2, 3 cars together. Car upside down. Kofer Johnny Cofer is upside down. The yellow flag flies. He is right there. He's still hanging upside down. Appears to be okay.
That's Dave Darlin sitting there in the Terry Caves car right by the side of him, but all that big banging and crashing had started down here in turn number 1. When Billy Boat caught the rut, he slid right up in front of everybody. Trippy got a real good break, got around all of them, and in the meantime, Cofer and everybody else got all tangled up, and he just ended up upside down.
Watch it again. Cofer in the blue number 1.
Cofer's running about 5th or 6th right now, but you see Billy Boat, he slides up in front of everybody. Darlin and Tripp both try to go under him. They bang wheels. Cofer's coming up on him really fast, and after they bang wheels, Cofer had no place to go. He had a lot of momentum up. He ran up over the wheels of Darlin. He got upside down. Darlin spins sideways, ends up running backwards.
That's what it looks like from your easy chair in front of the television. This is what it looks like from the cockpit. You're riding now with Butcher. Look up in front. There's the blue car, upper left.
Yeah, he's seeing that car going up there, and he's saying, boy, I hope he stays on the bottom and then head for the top.
Well, they safely make it by. In fact, he did stay on the bottom, and I was impressed with the drivers in the infield. Had a chance to run over there to make sure that Cofer was okay. And I think that Dave Darlin is down there with Dave Wilson.
Well, guys, I have Dave Darlin and Johnny Cofer here now. Dave, what happened as far as you can see?
Well, it looked like Billy Boat bicycled going into turn 1 down there on the restart. There's a pretty good rut down there. He just bicycled, and everybody just, got together. Wasn't really anybody's fault, just the bicycle of Billy's car is what started that. So.
Well, you were moving towards the front. Do you think you could have kept up with them top 3 guys?
Well, I think we was pretty much moved up as far as we could with the setup and the track. But, we started pretty far back, and we was moving up pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. I was just hoping to finish, where we was running there, but that ended that.
We're also here with our quick qualifier and new track record owner, Johnny Cofer. You're running for the Wins Challenge. $2,000 you could have won here, and you were moving up through the pack pretty well.
Yeah, kind of moving up through the back. A couple cars got together, and everybody kind of got a little sideways, and I just happened to run right over them, so.
Back up to you guys.
Sports Center follows immediately following the conclusion of this race, but another yellow. We have a 3-car tangle down in turn 1, Larry.
That's Jack Runyon spun. Then I think it's Keith Roush ran into him. Coral J. Drake was back there. He ran into the mess. So we've had a terrible time getting these last 3 or 4 laps in. I think that's just a case of everybody so anxious, knowing there's only about 4 laps to go, running in there trying to get that advantage, and that's what happened.
Well, we see that Jack Runyon has climbed out, so he anticipates that car is finished. However, the other 2 drivers stay in the car. Keith Roush out of Denver stays in the 47 car, and it looks like the white 9 heads to the infield.
Yeah, Jay Drake looks like he's heading for the infield. Keith Roush is going to get pushed off. Runyon's going to be out. So as soon as we get these race cars off the racetrack, we'll get going and hopefully get these last 4 laps in.
And then we'll get you right to Sports Center immediately following the conclusion of this race. We only have 4 more laps to go. We'll remind you we're coming back with more Thunder on Thursday, April 27th. So mark your calendar for that. And then we'll be on the high banks of Winchester on May the 4th with the midgets there. And looking, coming up tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern Time, the First Union 400. There's a look at your 7-time NASCAR champion, Dale Earnhardt. But hey, it's the youngster, Jeff Gordon, on the pole for that one. As we repeat again, the next Thunder, April 27th, we'll have these same midgets here at 7:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 on the coast.
And our man, Jeff Gordon, he is knocking them dead down there in NASCAR.
4th pole position. He's won 3 times, led over 45% of the laps this year. We're about to go green. Hopefully, Brian Howard will turn them loose. Indeed, we go racing. 4 more laps to the conclusion. It's Sills out in front, the white car of Tony Stewart. Then it's Ollie Boat.
All 3 of those guys headed right for the top, right for the cushion that time, but Boat drops down here, and we got another crash down here. Dennis Hart and it looked like Jason Jonkman got together down there again in that same spot down there in 1 and 2. Everybody is so anxious knowing this racetrack, this race is close to the finish. They just keep running.
You ever notice in a basketball game how long it takes the final 2 minutes to be played?
Yeah, we're in a football game.
The final 4 laps of this race will take forever. It's going to take longer than running the other 26 laps. Here's the replay.
Here we see him down here on the bottom of your screen. It looks like That's
Jockman just ran into Hart.
He just ran in there really, really hard, ran right into the side of Hart. Hart jumps up over the wheel, almost gets upside down. Almost a Tommy tip-over.
Chance to say hello to all of our friends out there at Kelly's 2 on the west side of Indianapolis. Dick Jordan, the USAC Communications Director, put a big party together, and they're out watching the action live tonight on the west side of Indy. And guys, we're going to finish this race and send you off to Sports Center.
Yeah, they're going to have a big roast out in New York, Nick. I think it's tomorrow for Lou Ciccone. Lou Sr., of course, we see him a lot on ESPN back here with his son Bob, and they're having some sort of a big roast out there for him. So,
wouldn't it be fun to roast him?
Yeah, it wouldn't be too hard, would it?
Well, there's a look at Johnny Cofer. He's not too happy. He got upside down, then had the misfortune of being told that he was the guy that was up for the $2,000 wins challenge money, and he'd just been able to win it. So he talks things over with Dave Darling. A good look at Dave there, the sprint car veteran from Indiana.
Good assessment by both those guys. Just one of those things that happened. Wasn't anything either one of them could do about it. I want to say hi to Ralph Potter, too, while we got a chance, because he's had a little tough luck.
Yeah, he's on the mend from a heart attack. The owner of Tony Stewart's national midget winning car. And all right, let's try it one more time to get these final 4 laps in. Battle back there for 4th position right now, but up in the front, look at this.
Look at Boat. He got underneath him. It looked like he's going to make it stick, but not quite. He just didn't have enough horsepower getting off the corner. Right to the bottom again. Not quite. Not quite.
2.5 laps to go.
And he keeps on trying. He keeps on plugging down there, but the cushion's just a little bit faster. Meanwhile, down at the bottom, Delaki in that black number 7 car sneaking up on both of them.
We're looking for the white flag this time by. There's the pass for 2nd position. Can it stick? Yes, it does. 1 lap to go. They will not catch Jimmy Sills unless Jimmy makes a mistake, and that is highly unlikely.
And then he goes right back past him. Stewart gives him a slide job on the other end, goes up in front of him. Let's see what happens here.
There is Sills, takes the victory. Stewart hangs on for 2nd. Billy Boat goes 3rd. 4th was Delaki, and 5th.
I think was Hank Butcher all
the way up to 5th.
All the way from the back of the pack. Stewart and Boat banged and beat on each other the same as they did last week for the last 3 or 4 laps. Man, oh man, what a race. You know, other than Sills leading that thing, those guys 2nd, 3rd, 4th put on one heck of a race.
Sills missed a heck of a race. He was out there leading. All the action was directly behind him. The battle for 2nd. That's the kind of action we anticipate when we come here to Ventura. We're coming back on the 27th of April as Thursday Night Thunder resumes on Thursday. So we thank you for joining us this evening. Our congratulations, Jimmy Sills. We're in what we call a panic close. Sports Center's coming up next. So for Dave Wilson and Larry Rice, I'm Gary Lee. Thanks for joining us. We'll say so long from Ventura, California. Congratulations to Jimmy Sills. We'll see you back here on the 27th of April.